I'm your host, Van Allen. Welcome to another edition of Member Spotlight, where we get an opportunity to take a look at some of the organization's most successful and brightest entrepreneurs. And today, we've got a good one because I'm going to be visiting with Michelle Carley. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm fine. How are you, Van?
Excellent, excellent.
Good.
Now, before we kind of get into what you do, and I think this is, very important because you're talking about money and how we basically manage and track our money. But before we get into that, I want to kind of read over your bio and give the audience an idea of what you're all about and your background.
Sure.
Okay. All righty. Michelle Carley is the CEO and founder of the E Z Bookkeeping company that has helped thousands of businesses, nonprofits, groups, and clubs keep their books and get clear, concise reports in an efficient, time-saving, cost-effective manner with the use of the E Z Book system. Originally, Windows-based bookkeeping software system that was first designed and implemented over 20 years ago. The E Z system continues to be updated and refined over the years to meet current small business bookkeeping requirements and adapted to customer suggested needs. Michelle is currently the secretary of the National Entrepreneurs Association Michigan chapter. Michelle Carley has received Outstanding Business Practices Award from the National Entrepreneur Association.
Yes.
All right, Michelle, that's a pretty good intro. You've got a pretty extensive background there working with numbers. So, but before we get into exactly what you do, let's talk a little bit briefly about the impact of being involved in the National Entrepreneur Association and how's that's been a benefit to your business.
Yeah. Okay. So I started out with NEA a few years ago, and I've enjoyed all the different events that you put on. And I was really impressed with when this crazy COVID thing happened, that you guys really changed up things, and you had to go on, online with everything. And you really made, you really impressed me with the way you guys did that. There was a lot of thought that went into it, I think. And what I liked was it's almost like you're in the trenches with us, and you're trying to figure out what's the best way to help these small businesses as they're struggling through different changes going on. So I'm really enjoying the networking that you've started.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Excellent. Yeah, and I know since you've come on board, you've been an intricate part of the business, and we always talk about that. In order to build your business, you need to surround yourself with, I always say, positive, like-minded people that understand your journey, that are on that same path. Now, E Z Bookkeeping. First of all, I want to say I love that name when I first heard that name. But for the sake of our listeners, in a nutshell, tell people exactly what it is you do before we get into the details on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I design bookkeeping programs for small businesses, little nonprofits, and groups and clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we have a new one that's called E Z Accounting for Google Sheets. So it's an online version. And we also have a desktop version. And we actually have some people still using the pen and paper or pencil and paper system.
Okay.
That goes way back to those 20 years, 30 years ago. So.
Okay, now, one of the reasons I think this is so important, and you could speak on it, is that quite often when individuals get in business, they don't necessarily have a good accounting system, and we can run into problems later. And especially, and I want you to talk about that, especially when we start out with a small business where either it's just us or we have maybe one or two individuals that we work with. We may not think, well, it's not necessary to have a big elaborate accounting program. Talk about the importance of that and how not having that gets people in trouble.
Yeah, well, I would say that every business needs to track what they're doing. And if they do, they stay out of trouble. They stay organized for tax time. They have organized records for in case they're audited.
Mm-hmm.
Something that a lot of people don't think about is that if they have good records, when they go to get a loan, they have some, a track record, but also if they go to sell their business down the road, 10, 20 years from now, and if they have no records, it's like, what's the value of this business? So it's good to keep good records. Absolutely.
Michelle, what would you say is one of the biggest mistakes that you've seen people make when they're starting out in business and handling their accounting?
Yeah. Okay. So cash flow is a big thing. You've got to have records so that you can, like a lot of businesses are seasonal. So they'll know certain months during the year they have a good cash flow, and they need to reserve some of that money for when their cash flow, when their income shrinks, during the other months of the year. So that's one problem is cash flow, because if you're spending the same amount every month, but your income drops for certain months, you're in trouble, so.
The name of your particular product is Big Easy Accounting, right? Okay.
Big Easy Accounting, yes.
Yeah. What would you say is different about your program? Because a lot of time people maybe think it's just too much trouble, or you almost have to go to school to learn how to use some of these accounting programs. What makes your program so effective?
All of the bookkeeping programs that I've designed have always been based on like either ledger sheets, so you can see all the detail on each row. And that's something different than other programs. Other programs show you a screen like, this is what your check is going to look like. This is what your invoice is going to look like. Ours is all based on rows and columns. So it's real easy to, if you make an entry error, you can quickly find it and correct it. And so that's what's different. But also it was based on Excel at one point, and now it's not. But when it was, we set up checks and balances to make sure that this is accurate, that the financial reports that are generated are accurate,
Right.
So,
and your program is primarily online?
There's the newest is the online, but there is a desktop version also that works with Windows,
I understand too, in visiting your website, you talked about actually developing a cloud program. Is that available now, and how does that work?
Yeah, that's been in the works for a couple of years, but we brought it out last year, and so this is our second year, and it's allowing small businesses to collaborate with others to keep the books. The desktop is like a one person, one computer kind of a program, but the online version has a lot more. You can customize it. You can, like I said, collaborate with others.
I know you offer demos that people can, before they buy, so to speak, and kind of get a feel for your program. How does that work?
Absolutely. There's a 30-minute demo tour that we can provide, where we can show you how the software works, what kind of financial statements you would get, how you can customize it, and ask any questions, that you might have, about bookkeeping. A lot of people don't have bookkeeping or accounting knowledge when they start a business, and they have to learn that. But not only that, but a lot of people have trouble with math. I mean, just plain old math. So if they don't have any accounting experience and they shy away from anything to do with math, then they really need something simple. And if it's not simple enough, a lot of people won't use it. So that's kind of what we're trying to, make sure it's pretty simple. So
yeah, absolutely. I can understand a lot of people get intimidated by the numbers, but another thing I want to address is quite often people think that it's an expensive, venture to get into one of these programs or accounting. But I know that you talked about earlier, you have some type of discounts that you can offer to even NEA members? Or people
Yes,
that-
yes. The Big Easy accounting for Google Sheets is $180, but there's a $60 discount. So it's $120 for members of NEA. Yeah. And then the desktop version is only $79.95.
Okay.
And so there's no discount on that, but
I definitely recommend using your program. And how can people find out, more about it and actually, get this demo that we talked about?
yeah, going on to the website, which is bigeasy.com, BIGEZ.com, 5 letters.
Okay.
And they can sign up for a 30-minute demo tour. And then also there's a short little video that will explain who this works best for. So they could click on that and decide if that's something, they would want to do. So, yeah.
Well, in closing, can you leave our audience with one good tip that people can use in order to run their business more effectively as far as financial goes?
Oh, gosh. I have actually 30 tips on the website. They could.
Let's share one of your most powerful ones that can really help a person transform their business, even if it's like a mindset idea about how you operate.
Yeah. Don't be afraid of the numbers. I mean, I've seen businesses that shy away from looking at their financial reports because maybe they're not doing so well and they're trying to pretend it's not really happening, or you just need to stay focused on it. Looking at your checkbook often, and if you use a simple system, it's going to give you clarity as to what's happening in your business. Just looking at your checking account is going to give you your checkbook balance, so.
So you need to be realistic and face the reality, whether you're doing good or bad. Always keep track of the numbers.
Yeah. I think if you keep it up, if you just once a month at least go in there and download your transactions and plug them into a system, and categorize them like you would do in our system. You keep that up. And I think after a year or so, you're going to find it's really pretty simple. And we have so many repeat customers. Probably the average is 10 to 12 years. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That they've been using it. So once they start, they really like it. It's comfortable, so.
Excellent. Well, Michelle, man, we're out of time already, but I appreciate you coming on the show. You've shared some excellent information, and we truly appreciate you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Van. I appreciate it.
Hey, Van Allen here. Thanks for joining us. Visit us at nationalentrepreneurs.org. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.